still believe it. They did it against Port Adelaide when they won their first game. Gerard was at the ground then. Yep. 44 points down at three-quarter time. The Gold Coast and got up and won.
Josh Fraser, the only tall man left for the Suns. He's out there at the moment. Up against Griffin. It's going to be an easy clearance win here for the Dockers through the courtesy of Palmer. Straight onto the chest of De Boer. Swings around. Johnson back to the hole. Main's got courage. They get in each other's way. Quick kick in to Hunt.
Oh, too high, wasn't it?
Taking his head off. Millington into the game. Thought he was playing a State of Origin game. Tries to take his head off. Swallow's got to go. And the punch was a good one from Broughton, who's becoming a very important part of this Dockers midfield. Here's the tackle from Millington.
Well, the handball was on, but no doubt about the round the neck. Thought the umpire was on the blind side. I don't think you could ever be on the blind side of that.
Here's Hunt. Got the handball out to Prestia. Quickly to McKenzie. Hayden back on it a second time. Tackle's not a bad one from Brennan.
Just off the boil, isn't he, Roger Hayden? He's making his way back in. Yeah. He's been caught nearly every time. And we know how evasive he is and how quick he is. But that will come with probably a month of football, I would think.
Most senior player for the Dockers at age 30. Palmer, well, he did well to get a handball out to Broughton there and put themselves in a danger zone. Tape. Wilkinson slides in under. De Boer again. Gets it towards Hayden. Broughton tried to get past and somehow did.
There's Hayden again. He got tackled again.
Prestia dribbles it forward. It falls for Brennan. Gets it going to Ablett. Shrugs the tackle. Ablett for goal number 3. And he is as good as it gets.
Well, the dish-off was absolutely superb. It was a really good win. And there's a combination of a bit of talent there, Pavlich and Ablett. I'll tell you what, the dish-off was absolutely superb. Have a look at this, Shorey. Oh, straight out in front.
Did he get a hand to it?
Did he get a hand to that one, Jerry?
I called it a dish. Just got it out in front of him and Ablett did the rest.
Well, yeah, there's been some terrific players today. We've talked about Griffin's game, but Gary Ablett's had 28 disposals, 3 goals, and throw in 11 tackles on top of that.
And also 11 contested possessions. Yeah. And just the thing, though, then, when you're tackled like Pavlich is holding on the ground wrestling, it takes a lot out of you. His recovery to get back and finish off like that. They're going again here.
Guess who? Ablett. Oh, good mark. Geez, good overhead, isn't it?
He's been one of their better players today.
I love the fact that he always keeps his eyes on it and he'll always go back with the flight of the ball. Pavlich just losing it in the sun there for a second. But they've got a bit of time here, Fremantle, as Duffield drives forward. Mzungu presents. Running hard for him is Grover. Working hard. Into the pocket. Onto the chest of Johnson. They've worked it right around the outside boundary. And now Johnson. Where is he, Gerard?
He would be in Jacko's vortex corner.
Right in the middle of it. And he kicks to the square. Oh, gee, it was almost a goal.
Jacko, question mark regarding Chris Mayne. 19 goals this season, none today. He doesn't get a lot of the footy. We know he's been pretty good in the defensive elements of the game. In fact, he's significant in their press, but hasn't had a really big day in front of goals for a while.
He certainly hasn't. I mean, he's had a few injury concerns, and I guess his inconsistency. He's in that middle group of players, which I mentioned before, that need to really elevate themselves. I mean, he's been in the competition for 3 or 4 years. He's a fantastic-looking athlete. He should just exert himself more in the contest.
Does he need to get up the ground a bit and just have another string to the bow?
Well, possibly, or isolate himself in the goal square and demand the contest and take the best on.
Bigger body of Grover putting Matera down.
Oh, I'll tell you what, he went hard, Matera, Matty. Did not shirk the issue. He's only a small body, but he paid the price then.
Hutchins. De Boer roved it well. Going past Robertson on the end of it. The handball came out to him, but they're missing goals. And we saw Fremantle last week, Tony, in the last quarter at the same end.
Yeah.
2 goals, 8, and 2 out in the full. Here's the bump.
Now, this is when you've got Grover and you're young, mature. You've got to put your body... You know you're going to get hurt, but you just got to go. And we've all been there, done it. And he didn't let his team down there, and he was paid the price.
Well, he knows he's got good AC joints after that.
Yeah.
They didn't buckle under that force. They can just hold him in good stead.
Pavlich, chip into the pocket. Plenty on it. And, well, he wanted it the most, Michael Johnson. Just had a shot from the vortex, and now he's in the reverse vortex.
Oh.
Got to keep it low here, boys.
Tell you the other thing too, Jacko, we've just seen the last 2 times how this bloke can play. I know you were hard on him before, but everybody's got to be hard on him because he's a fantastic talent, but his urgency in the game and his willingness to work hard for long periods of game just does not add up.
45 metres out,
There's
doesn't keep it low, just drills it. Drills it beautifully.
Well, it was a double act, that one, a terrific mark. Ballantyne just ducked out the back, and I think Hutchins actually helped push him into this contest. Pavlich saw him coming and set it up pretty nicely. And then it was Hutchins who, I suspect, thought that it was going to be Ballantyne go for the mark, so he got out of the contest. He lost his man. And he will learn from that. That 3-metre gap he allowed him to take has cost them and him a goal.
And Matty, when I said keep it low, I said keep it below the height of the goalpost. So that was a low kick.
Yeah, good on you.
You just concentrate on the medal down there because there's a lot of blokes out here wanting to be the number 2 recipient.
Oh, no, it's only for one team in this town.
Checks in the mail too, Jago. Clearance will be won by Fife. De Boer just lost that there in transit. Wilkinson.
I've been impressed with
this.
Yeah,
shows a bit, doesn't he?
Yep, he made some mistakes, but they're all going to make mistakes. Got some athletic ability.
50 metres.
Well, he didn't say play on, he said hold.
But wasn't
the only bloke who wasn't holding was the bloke with the football.
Yeah, he kept moving in the same direction, didn't he? Anyway, it's time to move on from that as Hunt. It's a little bit too far for McKenzie. Tap back by Hayden. Take a look, Tony.
Well, look, he marks the ball, and we'll see then you man the mark. But as soon as he went over before, he went back about 3 steps, took about 4 steps forward, and then when the umpire says hold, you got to hold. I know it might be wrong, boys. They go off the line.
Holding Nathan Ablett, did he say?
Gee, that's his brother, isn't it?
He's that good. He's playing for 2 people at once. He's playing for a home viewer. Doesn't matter what the umpire calls him. Yeah. He's lining up for goal number 4. Gary Ablett, the captain, from just outside. Look at it go left to right. And I think it's funny that people come in and abuse Gary Ablett afterwards.
Well, he's had 30 possessions, 13 contested.
He's implemented the Josh Kennedy scissor approach in the run-up there, Gary.
In the run-up. Big Clark over the top for a good grab. He kicks it in the Mzungu direction. Wilkinson, just a little bit of body. Well, let's just go back to the decision, or the decision awarded to Gary Ablett. We'll do that in a second. As Hutchins tries to wrap up the tackle.
He was mauled.
Let's just go back to it now. The decision to Gary Ablett. Yes. Well, our home viewer is Nathan Ablett, and here's Gary again. Swallow. Hutchins can't go far. Solid tackle, but there's a nice relationship building between Swallow and Ablett in close. They're starting to read each other.
What about Brownlow medal night when Andrew Demetrio gives 3 votes and goes 3 votes and Ablett?
It's a good effort, isn't it? Kick into the sun, hard one to mark. The only man that could see it properly was Mzungu, or did it just fall into his hand?
He's been okay down there, hasn't he?
That second half, since they pushed him there.
Just picks up the line of the ball pretty well. Kicked the crumb goal too.
He'd only kicked 3 goals in his first 5 games, and he's lining up for 3 here. So a PB for Tendai. Not a difficult kick. And he reads it well. 3 goals to Tendai Mzungu. Dockers by 6.
Well, he has been a significant factor, Tendai, in getting the goals that Fremantle certainly required in this second half. He's worked pretty hard as well. And it's an interesting one where they're at the Fremantle Dockers, Shuri. I know they've got a tough run coming home. They're going to have to win all the games that they're expected to and maybe pinch ones that they're not.
Excellent second half from Mzungu. Freo chant for the first time this afternoon. Been very quiet.
Yeah, they've had reasons to be subdued, though.
Fraser trying to win the knockdown. Griffin trying to bust past him.
Some other good signs too. Sandy lands out. We know Griffin, well, a bit quiet in the second half, but he's had 22 possessions. He had a fantastic game, kicked 2 goals. And Zach Clark's just done enough things to make sure, you know, to think that he's got a future.
Yeah, Griffin clearly best player on the ground in the first half.
We could play Zach Clark. He's going to be a ruckman, I would think.
2 Freo guys holding it in, holding the ball.
There you go. That's the explanation from Steve McBurney that the Freo boys are holding the ball in. As Ablett gets it again from Brennan. Matera won't have the height here. Iverson marks. Quick movement to Mzungu. Here's Main. And the Dockers are running forward here. Ballantyne. He wants his 3rd. And we've seen a lot of balls go right to left at both ends of the ground.
Well, I've enjoyed his work rate, though, Hayden Ballantyne. After half-time, he has really produced an effort that I think he can be proud of.
Brown has to wait, and that's a good mark.
Good grab.
And immediately gets on with it to Jolly. That's not a good kick.
No, you're right.
They've made it very hard for Swallow. Hill with class. Well, he kept running, but they cut it off, and Swallow manages to dribble it forward. Quick hands was required there, and they got it. Came from Silvani to Robertson, out wide to Griffin. And he shows everybody the ball and hits it long. Bock and Johnson. Bock the best in the air there. McKenzie breaks for him. And he's going to have an issue as to where he kicks it. It has to be spot on, or at least it goes out of bounds in front of Harbrown.
Trent McKenzie, every time he gets the ball, I think he'd be just making a short lead forward and a double back lead over the space. I think every time he gets it. Just the penetration.
If Harbrown ducked up and ducked back,
well, you know he's going to run on. Yeah.
Brennan forced to do the ruck work against Clark, and it was an easy one for him to knock it down to Broughton. Mellington, the substitute, with Carmichael Hunt to Matera, the other substitute.
He's been pushed on ball now, Matera. Good to see if he can cope with that.
Now he's get some possessions. Trouble here, though, for the Suns. Stephen Hill will want to get it and go.
Oh, it didn't bounce.
It didn't come for him. He tried to tap it back to lower, and that's good work by Tate because he knocked it forward and kept his feet, but he's still under the pump. Jolly. Hands back to Russell. Fraser, well, it's at ground level. It won't suit him because Fife will get back first. Silvani, an easy call from him. And he's got plenty of time. And they're going to try and work it here to Broughton. So Clark's the runner. The Suns are tied getting back. Johnson. Broughton. And McFarlane. And you just get the feeling that they're just going to control the tempo from here on in, Fremantle.
Just having a look at the champion data rankings. Gary Ablett is significantly the best on the ground. Next to be Griffin, and then this bloke, Matthew Pavlich,
who should kick number 4.
Yeah, Carmichael Hunt just lost his footing there, just pushed off by Pavlich going to the contest. I want to start behind this bloke. He's got about 10-15 metres of space in front. Coming in for his 4th goal. Hasn't been one of his stellar games, but he's going to have a win in his 250th, which is pretty important milestone. A very important milestone.
Kick 3 in the second quarter. And that one needs to do a miracle to come back from there.
bloke who flies a bit under the radar, Shuri, Broughton, I think he's a significant player for the Dockers.
Well, he went in the midfield last week, Jared, and really gave him a lift. So
played a fair bit there today as well.
Yeah,
it's been good.
He's been their best player statistically in the last 3 weeks, boys.
Yeah, that's going to hold up and be a chance for Clark or De Boer. They sport each other, and good vision from Brennan to give it to Bock, and he has Isles running past.
Here's Ablett.
And here's Gary Ablett. Well, he couldn't beat 3, could he? No. Just needed Nathan to help him out in that situation, but here's Nathan Fife. Robertson liked his second half. Main got
nothing wrong with Main's foot or whatever.
It's working okay now, and working okay as Palmer. So what about it?
Just have a shot from there. Johnson showed him exactly the same spot. Obviously he's
left footer
on his non-preferred, but maybe he's a bit like Buddy.
Bends it back the other way. Reverse swing. 37 points is the margin, and Palmer's going to have a shot to try and bridge that 40-point gap.
Have to be 2 metres outside the left post, I would think, wouldn't you, for a left footer who normally hooks it? Oh, that's
a floater.
That's a good pass.
Great time.
Millington, well
disguised.
We saw earlier Wilkinson kick his first goal on AFL footy. He kicked it from the goal square, and after that superb pass from Reece Palmer, Millington should do likewise. So Josh Millington, game number 2, goal number 1.
He's pretty happy with it too. Well, it was on the end of one of the less memorable kicks, but it's a pretty good mark from Chris Mayne, who just showed great pace. Ooh. And that's the Chris Mayne that we know at his very best, when he's really attacking the ball. And Reece Palmer just with one of the all-time classical mongrels.
Yeah. As they say in the classics, you've got to be in the right place at the right time, and the young 18-year-old from the Murray Bushrangers was there when the Palmer kick dropped down. And he gets the goal. And he's got something to cheer about tonight, but the Dockers will continue to cheer with the victory here. 43-point margin. And the Suns get something going late. Mackenzie might get on the end of it, he does, but he wants to get left.
Oh.
Swallow. Robertson, clever tap. Millington, that's the right option. Pavlich into the midfield. Griffin back on the left. Okay to Millington. And he sends it long. Into the sunlight it goes, but Ballantyne used his body well. He's got a man in board, spots him, and it's party time for the Dockers.
Yeah, Greg Broughton just pushed up through the middle of the ground.
Gee, another injury to Gold Coast here, Jarrett.
Yeah, they haven't had a great run of it, the Gold Coast.
That's Isles coming off.
There's a really good smother from Chris Mayne. That is what's keeping him in the side for mine. It's not goal kicking because he doesn't kick enough of them, but he is really good at the defensive stuff.
Yeah, that hurt.
For the next level, he just needs to be able to find some more goals, Chris Mayne. Get his average up above the 1.6 or 7 that it is at the moment.
Here's Broughton for another goal for Fremantle. Can he enjoy or celebrate a big afternoon? And again, it's on the left-hand side.
I think he's got to get more tricks in his game too, Jared. He's a straight line leading player. Doesn't turn angles, doesn't do any figure eight work. So you just see, this is good defensive play here though, but he just kicked his like a corky, I would think.
They're looking at the foot, I'd say, in that sort of situation. But
hold there. Thanks, mate.
They've had their injury concerns all afternoon, the Gold Coast Suns. But the Dockers, not to deny their terrific second half when they stepped it up. A few positional changes. A few players got going.
Well, they needed to. Look, they're going to have a very good win here. You know, over 40-odd points, maybe 50 points, somewhere near there. And that's what you'd maybe expect at the end of the day. And that's how the Gold Coast just dropped off. Had a few injuries too today.
Mellington. Handball back in. Swallow did well.
Hard.
Boys, they've taken Sam Isles' boot off and they're just doing some movements with the foot, the right foot.
Wilkinson attacked it. It's going to spill out to Fraser, but he needs some help.
Did well.
He did well on short kick to Danny Stanley, who started like a bomb, but has found it hard to get into the game. There's a couple of fumbles coming in here late in the day. Tape. Evades. Hayden pressed here and up and under. And play on the call. Pavlich's kick along the ground. Hutchins comes at it. Harbrow with his first movement often sideways. Fraser in the centre circle. Harbrow kept going. Little hand over the top. Swallow to Ablett. And he's still got it, but he's not sure where to go. Now to Bock. Stanley's got a bit of room, but he kicks it higher.
Gee, Brandon Matera's the target.
Oh, that's not the target. They're two players shorter, and Matera's not your marking target.
On there, yeah, there, Brandon. Move it on, play on.
Sure, you discussed Fremantle before the match, and you think that there's a real chance that they're going to miss the 8.
Well, they've got a lot of games where I think are 50-50, Jared, but I think I had them down for this win, maybe another 2 out of the rest of the season, and mainly because, look, they've been decimated with injuries.
Yep.
Sandylands, you put him in there and you think they win maybe another 3 of them, but look, I don't think the signs have been great today. You know, look, they've won the game, like I said, to the margin, they think, but how they're playing the game, Jared, against great... you know, there's the next 4. They've got to buy. Sydney Swans at SCG. I think the way they're playing, I would pick the Sydney Swans. West Coast Eagles, while the West Coast are in great form. And Hawthorn, depending on how many players they get back, Jared. So, you know, the next 3 games are crucial to get 1 or 2 or sneak a few of them.
Here's Palmer. Is this one a shank? No, he's just going to pass it off
Great
to
kick.
Ballantyne. It's a clever kick. He'll get up and kick a goal here. Ballantyne, 1, 2, 3. And let him know.
Oh, the high
Let him
five.
know.
Well, Reece Palmer may have to get the long-handled putter out, Shuri, because that was a fantastic kick. Let's be honest, it was brilliant.
Yeah.
And yet the last one, when he's looking at the big sticks, he actually shanked it. Yeah, just this kid can kick the ball. We've seen him in midfield. That is superb. But gee, that last one. So we'll just have to have a look, see the technique, and it's helped a few.
So 6 goals from Ballantyne and Mzungu in the second half.
They needed it. Yep. They needed to find other avenues.
And 9 total goal scorers, boys. Could have been a bit more, given that it's been a tough day for them. An interesting day. They've spread the workload in the second half a lot better, Fremantle.
And they're not done with yet as Duffield clears it. Just onto the chest of Brown, who, remember the last one, he just ran straight over it, which enabled Palmer to find Ballantyne as Hutchins slows things down.
Play on.
Brennan to the wing.
You got it, Nathan.
Bock, not sure. They have a lot of options up forward at the moment, Gold Coast. That's the problem. He's chipping down the line through Russell and turn Shaw.
On there, Nathan. Hold
The
it
way
there.
he covers the ground, though, Matty Shaw. Not a lot of possessions today, but just the way he picks up space at times and holds players off until that last second. Got a bit of natural speed.
Well, Stanley's got it. It's a reasonably open forward line, but it doesn't look as though that there's any crummers underneath Fraser. This is where all the pack's going to form.
And a nice knockout from Zach Clark, who read it pretty well. How much more competitive next year do you think the Gold Coast will be, Shorey? How much can they improve if they don't recruit any senior players to the list?
Oh, they'll improve. Look, the great thing about this is they've rested, I think, 3 or 4 players will be in their top 22 this week, Jared. And each game that these players get is probably about 10 games worth of experience. As we see Brendan have a shot at goal and marked on the line by that man, Stephen Hill. Yeah, so look, they'll improve. There's no doubt. I think they'll win in about another 3 to 4 games.
So you're aiming at, what, 6 wins?
6 games, yeah, maybe.
Well, they've got a few games coming up at Metricon Stadium, as we saw, but they're against good opponents. But they do have a lot at home towards the end of the season, including a return match, which will be at the Gabba, but another return match against the Brisbane Lions.
And Jared, Stephen Hill certainly lifted his intensity today, much better, more consistent, 26 possessions.
Yeah, I've liked his game and I like the positioning of him. I mean, we like him inside the forward 50 running, but geez, he can set the ball up. When presses are the norm in the game as they are now, it's great to have elusive players with fantastic decision-making and foot skills behind the ball.
Knocked Josh Fraser out.
Yeah, but Josh made good position to get to the front, and where were the crummers? He brought it down in front.
With his head.
I know, but it was, you know, he didn't want to give up front spot. Everybody knew it was going there. He kept his eyes on the footy.
Yes,
Matty,
and his nose.
Matty, you've got 2 hands, Matty.
No, watch. No, I'm not concerned with this.
OK.
He worked hard to get the front spot. He said, stay in front of me, I'll get it down to you. But there was no one there.
All right, I'll headbutt it to you front and centre.
Hutchins, little push.
So young Jack Hutchins, I'm impressed with him too.
He's good, isn't he?
He's just learning. He's only played 6 games.
He's asked to have some of the biggest roles you'd ever ask a player. I think he's 19, I think. It's just maybe turned 20, but just a massive...
No, 19.
19, just a massive jobs he's had all year. And one thing, he just does not shirk the issue.
He's going to learn each game as to positioning and when to go and when not to go. Old chip from Broughton. Valentine might feel as though he's got one more coming. It's free kick material.
Oh, this is good for Brandon Matera. Get out of the forward line, trying to accumulate a few possessions.
Still think that's what they should do with Chris Mayne. Just push him up the ground, challenge him a little bit in other positions, play him in defence a couple of quarters. And games like this now are actually decided. Just to round him up a bit.
Brennan just chipping over the top, trying to find his skipper. Does so Ablett will finish with 34 disposals. As the Suns just maintaining possession, Ablett might just get one more.
I know you're passionate about your footy club, but I'm amazed when they boo a champion.
Well,
I think he's been BOG, which I reckon he was today.
Yeah. For the 2nd week in a row, the Dockers at home have been down at half-time, and they've come back to win the game. But this time, they've won it convincingly by 50 points.
Well, they were pretty poor in the first half, Matty. Their defensive work was non-existent. They were here for a picnic, and they were nearly embarrassed. But at half-time, I'm sure Mark Harvey, Matthew Pavlich and a few others may have just read the riot act. Their work rate went up significantly, and as you'd expect, even though they've got some injuries, they're far more experienced, and they did what they had to do in the second half.
Oh, no, look, they've won by 50 points. That's all you ask from when they come here, Jared. But again, they're not playing as a side, a top 8 side, I wouldn't think at the moment. But if you keep winning, you give yourself an opportunity.
Yes, down at half-time and comfortable victors in the end, winning that last quarter by 23 points. I'm not sure who Glenn's going to talk to. Who's he going to give the Jakovic medal to? No, he's going to talk to Pav. It's game number 250.
Who do you think I'd give it to? The super Pav. Pav, well done. I mean, I'll get to the game in a minute, but what does the milestone mean for you? 250 games. You've been at this club for a long time. Proud day for you?
Yeah, it is a proud day. I think a lot of people get asked when they sort of have these types of milestones if they, were offered this at the start of their career, you would take it. And I'm no different to every other person that's got to this point. So it is a nice moment, but more importantly, we're 8-6 come Dubai this week.
300, possibly?
Well, you got 272.
You got me covered.
I don't know about that. Mate, you know how challenging that is. I'm worried. I was worried today about 250, and I worry about 251 in 2 weeks' time.
Let's just talk about the highs today. I mean, when you were good, but then you have these patches where you just, just have a bit of a lull. Explain more about that. How are you going to rectify it?
Yeah, look, it's been a constant focus for us probably the last couple of months. You know, we've played probably not a full game of, our type of footy yet, and that's a challenge for us to review in this next week while we got it off. The pleasing effort is that we really finished the game off strong. To the Gold Coast credit, they came over with a really good game plan and they stuck to it, but it was great to get the victory.
Right, mate, enjoy with all your friends. Well,
thanks, mate.
Good one.
Congratulations to Matthew Pavlich on game number 250. Congratulations to the Dockers. They've had their 8th win. They're inside the 8 in 6 position, and they've been too good this afternoon here in Perth, and they've won by 50 points.